Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be presenting to you Nano. The ticker symbol is NNDM. This is a company that has enjoyed a lot of recent success, at least in their stock price, in part due to Kathy Wood and her ARK investment team. ARK has bought up a lot of shares of NNDM, and I think that has made this a popular stock to follow. Seems like anything ARK does right now becomes a popular stock to follow. I think it's important to understand what a company does if you're going to invest in them. So today we'll talk about what they do. We'll talk about the industries that their product is helping to innovate and revolutionize. We'll talk about some of the company's financials, and we'll talk about its stock price and where it may be going. NNDM, or Nano, is an additive manufacturing company. That's just a nice way to say that they develop 3D printing machines. Their lead product right now is the Dragonfly LDM Precision Additive Manufacturing System. It's this rectangle metal box that you can see in front of you. Now they have carved out a particular niche in the 3D printing, and their niche is circuit boards. Just a quick little tutorial for history's sake about circuit boards. Before the 1950s, they started out as individual components that were wired together, such as this box that you can see on your left. In the 1950s and 60s, these started to shrink a little bit when an Austrian scientist developed the single-sided circuit board. Eventually, these became double-layer and even multi-layer circuit boards. The basic mechanics of this are to have an epoxy, which is the green color that you can see in this illustration, with copper layered on top of it. The copper is then etched away to create the connections that will be used for the circuit board. These circuit boards are generally rigid and flat, which creates some design limitations. Being able to connect two circuit boards involves a copper wire plate, which you can easily see if you were to open up your desktop computer. And if you want to, and from a structural or load-bearing aspect, these rigid circuit boards have some limitations in that they really aren't designed to bear weight. This type of circuit board also generates a lot of heat that needs to be controlled if they're to work effectively. Now, additive manufacturing, or 3D printing of electronic circuits, introduces some significant benefits. The first being just the design. You can manufacture this in pretty much any design that you want to, so that it can fit in pretty much any space that you desire it to. Their Dragonfly system has two print heads that simultaneously can lay down highly conductive silver nanoparticle ink, as well as photopolymer with dielectric properties. And it can do it in 3 dimensions. Integrated circuits can be stacked on top of each other, taking up less space. And you can use this process for multiple different types of electronic circuits. Another nice feature for a company who is using the Dragonfly system is the speed as well as the security that they can enjoy over their competitors. The traditional way of creating a printed circuit board involves creating a design in whatever country you're in, but typically most circuit boards are created in the Asia-Pacific region, and that involves then having to ship that off to Asia and then waiting for a product to be created and then mailed back to you. This is not only slow, but also puts intellectual property at risk. When thinking of speed as well as security, you can see how their products could be important in such areas as research, aerospace, defense, medical, and automotive and industrial. One can also see how being able to create a 3D circuit board in just about any shape that you need it could help with innovation in each of these different types of businesses. Now, NNDM has been on a tear this year. They have had multiple direct offerings. The first one started back in April, and it was for $12.5 million of pre-funded warrants being sold at 70 cents per warrant. That was followed quickly in May with a $35.9 million direct offering, going at $2 per share. There have been multiple public offerings along the way. If we skip ahead to October, when they had 2 public offerings, you can see here the latest one in October went up to $3 per share. If we then skip ahead to November, when they also had 2 direct offerings, we can see it was going at $5 per share. On December 9th, they closed a $180 million direct offering at $6 per share. And then on December 27th, they announced their latest direct offering, and that is going at a price of $7.50 per share. Based on the share price increase in their direct direct offerings, you can probably guess that their share price has also been increasing all along the way this year, and that is reflected nicely within this year-to-date summary of their share prices. You will notice that the share price increases and then takes a drop, increases and then takes a drop. And if you look at today, at the very end, the share price has taken a drop. That is likely to be coinciding with the different direct offerings along the way. Why is this important? Well, this may be a buying opportunity for you if you want to get into NNDM. And important to keep in mind along the way, because I anticipate that they will be doing more direct offerings of their shares, which of course will dilute the shares and likely lower the price for a while, possibly a short while. By the way, if you're not familiar with direct offerings, essentially the company is offering shares of their stocks directly to investors rather than using an investment bank. Usually an investment bank would buy the shares from a company and then offer those shares up to investors. Now there's pretty much no chance of the average Joe being able to buy these shares at the direct offering price. Those shares go to big investors like ARK Investing and other institutional investors. Just a little bit more about Nano Dimension's financials. As of December 12th, they had 138,700,000 shares outstanding. That, of course, will be increasing with the recent direct offering announcement. They have essentially $431 million cash on hand, and importantly, they have no debt as of December 12th. They have sold 49 of their Dragonfly Pro 3D printing machines. The Dragonfly LDM is an improved model, and they have had 29 upgrades to the LDM. Now, if you're familiar with printing companies, they make a lot of revenue on ink purchasing, and Dragonfly stands to make significant revenue on recurring purchases of ink, and they have noticed a positive trend in that direction. Now quickly back to some of their financials. If we look at how they're doing year over year, one can see that their revenue is down significantly. September 2019, they were looking at 2.2 million. September 2020, their revenue is down to 438,000. Keep in mind that 2020 is, of course, an unusual year with the COVID-19 pandemic. Manufacturing has been shut down for several months this year, and some companies really have not returned to full production. And that, I think, accounts for much of their revenue losses. They're just not selling as many machines or as much ink as they otherwise would have. Coronavirus is the elephant in the room this year. Most of their customers are in discussions, but there are no suppliers' visits for maintenance until further notice, and hence there are no installations possible right now. Right now, they are working to conserve cash and accelerate technological edge. They're putting minimal investment into sales and marketing, and they're investing heavily to preempt seeds of competition. They have started a prototyping fabrication service in which they will do the manufacturing for companies without a company having to buy their Dragonfly system. And there you have it. We've discussed what Nano Dimensions does, how their products can be used. We've discussed some of their financials, and we've discussed how they're handling the COVID pandemic, as well as their many recent direct offerings of shares, including the one that was just announced on December 27th, which should be closing on December 30th, and how this may be a buying opportunity as the share price falls with dilution by the direct offering. I recently purchased some NNDM. I realize I missed out on the big increase that has happened throughout the year, but I don't expect that their run is done yet. I see this as a disruptive technology. It's still in its infancy, and this is definitely a speculative play. While I am investing, I certainly am not putting large sums of money into this, at least not at this point. I hope today's information was helpful. If it was, please give us a thumbs up. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. And until next time, enjoy your investing.